The first time I read this book, I was so confused that my review was termed AI generated. I'm very serious because so it was a collection of different works, and there were poems in the story, there was an essay, there were short stories. So if it was a collection of short stories, I would have said like it's a collection of short stories. If it was a collection of poems, I'd have said that. But it wasn't. It was just a collection of everything. And I had to go back to the introduction to know that works like this are called fusion. And these works they had different writers from different parts of the world in them, and it's so beautiful. I'm very serious. Wherever you are, try and get a copy of this book. It is very beautiful. It just eases you. Like I will not that I was confused at first when I first read it, but on my second reread, it made so much sense and I loved it. So the first thing we are introduced is language of water, where we see that water flows drip drip, and for some reason that makes me glad. It makes me so glad. So hi, I'm Roving. Welcome to Roving True Books, and today I'm reviewing Languages of Water, a fusion work edited by Eugen Bacon. So we were introduced to this story where water is flowing drip by drip. I've been feeling that, as a writer, that's actually the way writing works. You write word by word, and it flows. You see the word I'm using. Writing flows through you, just the way water flows through. So there is a very beautiful similarity between the art of writing and then water itself. But that story makes mention of something in particular that I want to talk about: capitalism. Mhm. As someone who has not benefited very much from capitalism, I have a mixed sort of view about it because I can. But in this story, we see what the poor suffer because they are poor. So imagine a scenario where we don't have water, we don't have pure water, and only some certain people can afford to buy water. In fact, before the way people were accessing water is that they would throw lots, and then somebody will be the person to, but they had to find a solution. Poor people and rich people were like, they are throwing lots in my presence. What manner of sea finish is this? Because do you know who I am? And then you're throwing lots. What if it falls on me? And they decided, you know what? Let's start selling this thing. And they realized that they were the only ones who could buy water. And through these stories, like not that only story, you see what these people do to make sure they are the only ones that have access to water. And we see how the poor people struggle. Like I said, see, we don't rate water. We don't rate water. We treat water as something. I know it occupies 2/3 of the Earth's surface, but still we treat water as you're always there for me and you always be there. But it is a very wrong approach because yes, we recognize the existence and the vastness of water, but we also don't see that because of this vastness, we should treat it with care. We should treat it with respect. If you see what we do to water, let's look at water pollution. Everywhere there's water pollution, even in places you don't expect water pollution to be. So I'm wondering for something so very important to our lives, see how we are treating it with so much disdain. What is going to happen when we don't have access to it? Just imagine. Imagine that for some reason mm, water dries up, or for some reason the only water we have access to is dirty. What are we going to do? And that's what I was thinking of. It made me very conscious of the environment, and I like books like this. Another book I'll say that made me conscious of the environment was Flying Through Water by Mamle Wallo. But this one, because I'd read from different people, I've read from different voices, it made me like, okay, maybe we should chill and take a break and see how we treat water and have a reevaluation of that. So there are so many stories. There's a story about a fox. There's a story about water wiping an entire village, and that one was very heartbreaking because there were warnings. But we as human beings, we are very stiff necked. Human beings are so stubborn. I don't even know why we are so stubborn, but we are so stubborn, and it's very very off putting because for people who are almost helpless, we do have a lot of pride because just look at how water wiped out an entire village who had been warned, but they said, "Oh, it cannot happen." Like just like in the time of Noah, where God was like he was going to flood the earth, And human beings that did not have power say that it's not possible. And I'm wondering, what makes you think it's impossible? And what are you going to do if it happens? Absolutely nothing as well. The beauty of this collection is that it not only examines the lack of water, it also examines the surplus of water. So we see where water is, they will say fire is a bad master and a good servant. We see this for water, and it's a very, very bad case. In fact, when you cannot control water, it is entirely very devastating the effects that it can have. And that's all for me for languages of water. I highly recommend this book. I know you may not understand it at first, but give it a second go. Or maybe watch my review and then give it another go, because it was beautifully written. It was calm. I feel like it was written with the spirit of water in mind. You know how you think of water. Yes, water can be calm, but it can also be turbulent as well, because you can feel the currents of water through the book. You can feel the calmness. You can feel the turbulence as well, because some places are just pretty chill. And there was a particular story I really liked, where there had been no water for a long time, and then something dropped on someone, and I was puzzled for a moment because it ended in a cliffhanger. So was it bird poop or was it water? What was it? And my mind tells me it's water, but we can't really see. It's at the discretion of the author, of the writer, and the person decided to leave it in a cliffhanger. Beautiful. Like, I don't want to give you guys spoilers, but read this book. Read Languages of Water. Tell me what you know. Tell me what you loved about it when you read it. I'm here for you. So that's all for me. Bye. See you.